بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على عبده ورسوله نبينا وإمامنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. Here we reach the 30th chapter of Riyadh, as-Saliheen, Gardens of the Righteous, with regards to the speech of Sayyid al-Mursaleen, the best of the messengers, Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, by Imam al-Nawawi. And this is the summarized version, and we have the chapter that says Bab al-Shafa'ah. He says the chapter of al-Shafa'ah, the chapter of al-Shafa'ah. And what's meant here by al-Shafa'ah is speaking on someone's behalf. Speaking on someone's behalf. Interceding for someone with regards to a worldly benefit. This chapter is not speaking on, it's not discussing, it's not talking about the shafa'ah and the hereafter, necessarily. Okay, in which many people say shafat. The Prophet interceding for people not to go to hell, for people to be removed from hell, for people to go to Jannah. This is talking about something worldly here. A brother wants to get married, a brother wants to get into a university, a brother wants to buy a car, a brother wants to be the imam of a masjid. You know him to be a good, honorable, reliable brother, and you put in a good word on his behalf. The position would normally not be given to someone his age, or someone who doesn't have a certain amount of credentials, or whatever the case may be. Something which would prevent him from taking that job, which isn't something which is from the necessary conditions of the job. He's capable of doing it. He can marry the sister and take care of her. He can be the imam of this masjid. He can get into this school, but he's just a year older, or a year younger, or something like this. He's missing something from his paperwork. And you know, to be a good, reliable person, you speak to the president, you speak to the principal, you speak to the father, and he said, please, I'm asking you kindly to give him the job. I ask you kindly to allow him to sit down with your daughter. I ask you kindly and respectfully to, such and such, fulfill his desire, his request, based off of the respect that you have for me. Based off of my clout. If you respect me and my judgment, my word, then please allow this person in, etc. So the intercession has many moving parts. The first part is helping out the person who needs a thing. It's a means of brotherly good, ihsan, helping that person out. That's number one. Number two, it's a means of respecting and honoring the one who's interceding. Respect for me. And number three, it is a means of keeping the Islamic brotherhood, maintaining it and making it flourish. Because how is that going to look now? I come to you and I say, Brother Abdul-Raqib, I'm speaking on his behalf. Please allow him to consider him for the job. He said, inshallah. And then you don't give him the job. Maybe something went wrong, whatever the case may be, but how am I going to feel? And I have a good rapport with you, good relation with you. Rather, let's say, for argument's sake, I've done many favors for you. Times in which you needed me, and you've come to me, and I've extended myself, my time, and I helped you out. And then you rejected my simple request. There is no doubt the shaitan is going to take that small wedge, and he's going to magnify it. And I'm not going to ever look at him the same or feel the same afterwards. It's human nature. You're going to feel disrespected. My word wasn't good enough. When you needed me, all of the things that I did for you, not bringing them up and throwing them in your face, because that's haram. But I'm saying it to myself. My word wasn't good enough, but you took my word, you trust me, you relied upon me, all those other times when you needed something, but you couldn't help out Abdul-Raqib. So something is going to be in the chest. Something is what? It's going to be in the chest. So this is what's meant here. Now, of course, there are rulings pertaining to shafa'ah, times in which you can't intercede for someone. It's haram acts. Or the person is clearly unsuited for the task. He's a good brother, but he's not a good husband. He's a good student of knowledge, but he won't make a good imam. He won't do, it's not a good idea. And you shouldn't intercede for him, whether it's haram or something that he doesn't have the ability to do. Or it could be something pertaining to Allah's rules, the hudud. Someone made a crime in the lands of Islam, Islamic government, and that crime is punishable in the Sharia. And it has reached the higher authorities. Khalas. There's no intercession anymore. As far as before it reaches the higher authorities, that's a different story. Please, don't flog him. Even though I know he drunk alcohol, he's a good kid. Give him a chance. You say to, let's say, the police officer, the Muslim police officer, or the person who's on the hay'ah of enjoining the good and forbidding the evil. Mathalan, they caught him drinking, and you intercede on his behalf. Please don't report him. He's a good kid. He just got caught up in a bad crowd. He was around a wrong and bound person. He doesn't drink like that. Trust me, I know his father, I know his family. He's a good young man. Don't report him. That's one thing. But once it reaches the higher authorities and the judge has declared for him to be flogged and for him to be whipped for drinking alcohol, there is no intercession. You can't say that's my son, or that's my student, or that's my cousin, or he's from this tribe, or he's from this race, or he's from this background. Khalas, there's no intercession there. Everybody clear on this or not? But before that's the case, and that's a different story that people of knowledge, they say. So there's often the rulings of speaking on behalf of someone and interceding for someone. And obviously the shafa is taking one and adding someone else. Like we have shafa and witr. Witr being odd and shafa being even. Even, the lowest is 2, obviously. So instead of one person, you asking him, now it's what? 2 people asking him. Everybody clear on this? As far as shafa in the hereafter, its types, its categories, and the mistakes, the gross mistakes that many Muslims make and say and believe and think about the shafa and thereafter, that's a different discussion, which we've explained in other classes with regards to tawheed, asking the Prophet for shafa, asking shafa from a saint, from a wali, supposedly a wali, someone in the grave, slaughtering in the name of this one and that one, seeking shafa, is a different story. There's no shafa except for the people of tawheed. I'm sure we can all think about these things in different countries, in which the people do this normally. It's a normal practice. Seek the Prophet's shafa. Go to Medina, go to the grave, toss him a letter, raise your hands, rub the gates, and he'll give you shafa'ah. Blah, that's different. We've spoken about the shirk that's involved in shafa'ah, and the bid'ah that's involved in the shafa'ah, and the munkarat wal akhta', mistakes, things that are incorrect regarding seeking, asking for shafa'ah. And if you take a simple, basic look at the Quran and Sunnah, you'll find that getting the shafa'ah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or shafa in general, is oftentimes very easy. And you find a mufti or a qadi or a mawla or a mawlana of a village or a country or a masjid, he tells the people to do so many difficult, burdensome things to get the shafa without opening up Sahih al-Bukhari and Sunnah Abi Dawood, in which the hadith clearly states, who says this will get my shafa. He who does this will receive the shafa. Clear, simple, easy, and most importantly, free. Sending prayers upon the Prophet ﷺ, repeating after the adhan, it's free. He says, no, you have to slaughter a goat, you have to go to Medina to get it, you have to, money, time, energy, effort, because that money is going into his pocket. Okay? So the evil scholar is something that the Prophet ﷺ was very, very weary and afraid for his nation. He was scared of an evil scholar. Someone who has knowledge, who has position, who has status, and misleads people for money. إِنَّ كَثِيرًا مِنَ الْأَحْبَارِ وَالرُّهْبَانِ لَيَأْكُلُونَ أَمْوَالَ النَّاسِ بِالْبَاطِلِ وَيَصُدُّونَ عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. Allah says, oh, you who believe, there are many rabbis, many monks, many priests who eat the people's wealth unjustly, and they hinder men from Allah's path. They hinder men from the true path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, saying, he's a Wahhabi, or he's extreme, or you don't love Allah's awliya, or you're this, or you're that. And Allah's path is clear and simple. The shafa is open for anyone that's from the people of Tawheed, and Allah Azza wa Jalla is pleased with them, and He gives them the permission. مَنْ ذَا الَّذِي يَشْفَعُ عِنْدَهُ إِلَّا بِإِذْنِهِ. Who is the one that can intercede with Allah except Allah's permission? So shafa through shirk, obviously, is of no benefit. Shafa without Allah's permission is of no benefit. Seeking shafa from the incorrect place or source is of what? Is of no benefit. And the Prophet ﷺ, he himself, when he was alive, was commanded to say, وَلَوْ كُنْتَ أَعْلَمُ, he says, if I knew the unseen, عَالَمُ الْغَيْبِ لَاسْتَكْثَرْتُ مِنَ الْخَيْرِ وَمَا مَسَّنِيَ السُّوءُ. He says, I would have so much good and no harm would have ever come to me. And how much harm came to the Prophet ﷺ? People said things about him. He was physically wounded and injured. They harmed and annoyed his wife with slander, and so on and so forth. So the Prophet does not know the unseen. The Prophet does not have the mafatihul ghaib, the keys of the unseen. He doesn't have the khaza'in as-samawati wal-ard, the treasures of the heavens and the earth. And it is not disrespect to the Prophet ﷺ to say that. It is not disrespecting the Prophet's status to believe that, because that's nothing more than the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He was a prophet and a messenger. Ana basharun mithlukum. Yuha ilayya. I'm a man just like you are that gets revelation. That's the difference between me and you. As Allah chose to give me revelation and make me a Rasul. And He gave me special things and special miraculous signs to prove that I'm a messenger. But if that wasn't the case, I'm a what? Human being just like you are. So this is very important with regards to the aqidah of the Muslim concerning shafa'ah and all of these different issues, which we said, unfortunately, have become very widespread in the lands of the Muslims. Very widespread. And one of the reasons behind them is the presence of evil scholars. Ulama su, who hinder men from Allah's path and stuff and fill their bellies with gold and silver coins. So therefore, this is what's meant by shafa'ah here. The first ayah, Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala quotes, it says, مَنْ يَشْفَعْ شَفَاعَةً حَسَنَةً يَكُنْ لَهُ نَصِيبٌ مِنْهَا. Allah says in Surah An-Nisa, verse 85, مَنْ يَشْفَعْ شَفَاعَةً حَسَنَةً. Anyone who gives a good intercession, يَكُنْ لَهُ نَصِيبٌ مِنْهَا. He will receive a portion of it. What are the things that come forth from the marriage of this young man to this young woman? They get married, they have children, they live upon Islam. How much good will come from that marriage? You get a what? A piece of that, a reward of that. Or this student of knowledge, get into the school, get into the university. He learns, he benefits. He goes and he educates a whole nation of people. It's not an exaggeration. You can find some people say a whole village accepted Islam. Whole village. Could you imagine this? Not a masjid, not a household. Things that we've seen. A mother, kids, an entire village of people leaving shirk and making the shahada. Steep. All because of the knowledge. Because this student from Nigeria studied in Islamic University of Medina. And he went back to his country, he went back to his village, and he explained to them the true Islam. He explained to them the true deen, or this village and those people were upon kufr or Christianity, and they all became Muslim. Inshallah, you get a reward for that, for putting a good word on his behalf, etc. The next hadith, or the first hadith, he says, وَعَنَ أَبِي مُوسَى الْأَشْعَرِي رضي الله عنه قال كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا أتاه طالب حاجة أقبل على جلسائه فقال اشفعوا تؤجروا ويقضي الله على لسان نبيه ما أحب متفق عليه وفي رواية ما شاء. Abu Musa al-Ash'ari رضي الله عنه narrated that the Prophet ﷺ, whenever someone came to him, someone was in need, someone sought something from him, he would say to those sitting around him, he would say to the companions, he would say, Ishfa'u tu'jaru. He would say, give intercession, speak on his behalf, and you will be rewarded. Tu'jaru. You will be rewarded. He then says, and Allah Azza wa Jal will ordain and decree upon the tongue of his prophet that which he wills. Allah will legislate and ordain upon the tongue of his prophet that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills. And this hadith is collected by Imam al-Bukhari and collected by Imam Muslim. So it goes to show you the command to give intercession, to speak well on the behalf of people when they need things, and as a means of reward. And it can also be a means of a person receiving a portion of that sadaqah, of that reward, that continuous reward that comes forth from you speaking on behalf of someone who deserves that, and not speaking on behalf of someone who doesn't deserve that. The exact opposite as well. Speaking well for someone who needs something is a prohibition of the opposite of speaking well for someone who doesn't need that thing, or who doesn't deserve that thing, or a person who's unsuited for what he's applying for. And there is no buttering up or boot kissing in Islam. You have to tell the person, I'm sorry, akhi, I can't give it to you. Malish. Whether you tell him that he doesn't deserve it or not. Can I have a letter of recommendation? Brothers, come to me. There was a time when you give people a letter of recommendation. Easily. Simply. Ask many brothers. They'll tell you. Many brothers got into Islamic University because of that. The last couple of years, I tell a brother, I can't help you. I can't help you. For one reason or another, let alone if I know this brother specifically and I don't see him to be studious. I don't see him to be a hard-working person. You don't deserve that. You don't deserve that. So for those who deserve it, and not for those who do not deserve it. And Allah Azza wa Jalla surely knows who deserves and who doesn't deserve. And may He make us grateful and deserving. Wallahu a'lam.